City Council is now in session. Please stand for pledge allegiance. Thank you. Clerk Golick, roll call.
Markovich. Here. Spitali.
Here.
Vanez.
Here.
Kalwinski. Ulaki.
Here.
Higgs.
Here.
Emerson.
Here.
Enosa. Opinker.
Here. Number 3 will be presentation by Haas Science Olympiad team.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vanez.
so often we hear only about the trouble that kids get into. And I think it's really important for all of us to know some of the accomplishments of our children in Hammond. At the Hammond Academy of Science and Technology Middle School Science Olympiad, they had a very successful season. They placed first in the Hammond Invite held at Eggers. They ranked first again at the regional competition held at Purdue Calumet. At the state tournament held at Indiana University in Bloomington, Haas Middle School ranked 10th out of 30 teams. This is a big accomplishment for the Haas Science Olympiad program that has only been in existence for 3 seasons. I'd like to introduce you to a couple of the members of the team. When you're done giving us your presentation, if you would tell us your name and your grade, please.
You know what, gentlemen, you might want to go and speak by the mic there so we can hear you.
So, as I was saying earlier, good evening, Councilman. Thank you for having us here. My name is Victor Lopez. I'm the 9th grade, and she is Mackenzie Gorman. She's also in 9th grade. And I'd like to today talk to you about Science Olympia, what we do, and what's it about. So, Science Olympia is about science and different types of engineering, all sorts of stuff you have together in one class. This is an extracurricular activity that we do every day after school. And in this activity, we're going to show you one event. And Science Olympia, you have many different events. I think we have 23 different ones, a lot of different ones. Each one depends on a different category. So I like the weather this year, so I did a category about weather. And what that is basically is I take a weather test and I study about weather. And if I do good on it, pass the test, and I get the best score, I get first place. Others we're about to show you is building events. And those events are typically about building something like this, roto egg drop, which I'm going to explain right now. So in this event, teams have to build a roto egg drop with qualifications to them. And we put an egg in there, and we drop it, and see if the egg breaks or the egg stays afloat. And this is very light. I think this is 3 grams? 3 grams, the whole thing weighs. And we have to drop it and see if the egg breaks or not. And that's our event. And it spins like that. And we have a rubber band that shows and it spins. That is one of our many events, as I was talking about earlier, that we have in Science Olympia. We've only been here around for 3 years, which is pretty good that we placed in all these regional tournaments so far. We really had an awesome coach, Tracy Miss, which is in the back. Like a round of applause for Tracy. We couldn't have done it without her, so I'd like to thank her for that. Other members of our team, you only see 2 of us, but other members were on a field trip today, so they couldn't make it, and the members, to acknowledge them, are Aaron Cook, Jayla Davis, Mackenzie Gorham, Tegan Gorham, Stephanie Martinez, Itzel Rios, Destiny Rodriguez, Caitlin Rogers, Christina Santos, Destiny Smith, Isa Smith, Derek Swart, Noah Sissom, and Emily Wisnack. So it's 15 people on our team altogether. They range from middle school to high school, which I'm at, and that's what we are assigned Cynthia at HAST. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I do believe if we could have the one student who got here late, were you going to give a presentation? I guess you're going to show off all those medals that you have, huh?
I was just going to talk about one of my events that I'm doing. It's called Helicopter Egg Drop.
Just did that.
So basically what you do is you hook a egg on a bag up to here, and you drop it from a 2-story drop, and you have to get the egg to survive. So this was our contraption that we built. We kind of based it off a real helicopter. So we have the air hitting here, and it kind of floats it up in the air. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, men and women, and thank you to Tracy Miss. You did an awesome job this year. Thank you very much. And these are our future leaders of Hammond. Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Number 4, reading of minutes.
Mr. President,
Councilman Spitali.
make a motion to accept the minutes from the May 13, 2013 meeting.
Second. There's a motion to accept the minutes, second by Councilman Emerson. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes passed. Number 5, approval of claims.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Markovich.
move for approval of claims May 8th through June 5th, 2013 for council meeting June 10th, beginning with claims dated 5/15/13, ending with claims dated 6/5/13, claims number 2412 through claims number 2826 for a total of $6,254,550. I so move.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilman Markovich, second by Councilman Higgs to accept the claims. Is there any discussion?
There is a claim from Clerk Glow's office he wants to amend.
Gonna do it. Well, that's fine.
Councilman Markovich is looking for the number. Clerk Gold, can you give him the number?
2479.
I've got it. Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Markovich.
I'd like to make an amendment for claim number 2479, ILMCT City Clerk. Instead of $1,200, cross out 1,200 and make it $800. I so move.
Second.
There's a motion by Councilman Markovich, second by Councilman Higgs, to amend claim number 2479 from $1,200 to $800. Is there any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote on the amended claim.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Ulaki.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa. Opinker.
Yes. Amended claims pass 7-0, 2 absent.
Mr. Chairman?
Councilman Markovich.
In our discussion earlier, and maybe I'd like to make the motion to pull claim number 2791, Lake Area United Way, $590,877,000. It's basically just be for discussion, so if we get some clarification, I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Markovich, second by Councilman Higgs, to pull claim number 2791. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
Councilman Markovich.
As we discussed, maybe Bobby Lindy can give us an answer on this. This is $500,000 that the city of Hammond has from gaming revenue that we donate to charities throughout the city. And in the past, what we would do is a check would come from the city of Hammond to these organizations stating that this money was from the city of Hammond. The question came up that if this money goes to the Lake Area United Way, if a check is going to be cut to these different groups for the city of Hammond, or if it's going to be cut through the Lake Area United Way, and maybe you can give us an answer and take care of all of this.
Absolutely. Mr. President, thank you.
Clerk.
Councilman Markovich, one of the reasons that the city has been using the Lake Area United Way for the last 3 years is primarily to ensure that the gaming money that the Gaming Commission donates their charitable donations to ensure that these charities are in fact 501c3 charities, that they're legitimate charities, and that they're accomplishing the tasks they say they're going to accomplish when they apply for the monies. So the Lake Area United Way is tasked with making those assurances on behalf of the city of Hammond. So when a charity comes to us and they say, we need $20,000 because we're going to do X in your community, now we can assure that they are a legitimate charity, and then B, we have follow-up to ensure that they do what they say they're going to do. Secondarily, as you know, the Lake Area United Way is very prominent in our region. And one of the things that they're able to do is they're able to garner additional match dollars. So for every dollar the city of Hammond funnels through the United Way to our charities, the United Way of Lake County is able to obtain additional dollars from large corporate donors. And therefore we get in excess of $1 of service for every dollar that we generate for one of our charities. That being said, when the Lake Area United Way does disperse our monies to those charities, the check will, in the upper left-hand corner, say the United Way. However, every charity that it goes to is aware that those monies are being distributed from the City of Hammond's Gaming Commission, Gaming Advisory Commission, and it's for the purposes that were set forth in those charities, each of those charities' applications to the City of Hammond.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
I guess my question would be in regards to these particular organizations is that if they could be identified to us prior to, because every year we get a number of organizations throughout the city that approach us for donations. Now we get a list all together today, which is the first time I've seen it, with organizations throughout the city that receive money from the city, but they also approach us as council persons throughout the city for contributions for organizations. So if they're receiving this kind of money, and some of them $25,000, there's no need to come and ask for $50 or $100 from me when you're getting $25,000. There are other organizations that really need the money, and those are the ones that we should be focusing on versus the ones that's already receiving this type of money. So I would like in the future to have some kind of statement or something identifying the organizations that's applying for this particular assistance through the city.
Mr. Lindy, Bobby, everybody that applies, do they get some money, or is this is only $500,000? There's still money left over, or no?
No, Councilman. As you know, the Gaming Advisory Commission is a nonpartisan board that's set up. I believe the council has an appointment to it. That nonpartisan board then gets together. We put out requests through all the newspapers for applications for approximately $600,000 in the mayor's discretionary gaming money that he gives to charitable organizations. Those organizations then fill out an application, gets presented to the Gaming Commission, who then decides which organizations to fund and in what amounts.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
at one time, Ms. Ola Smith was on there, and for whatever reason, she was removed. But the reality of it is, I think there were questions being asked as how the money was being spent throughout the city. So it brings to me question as to which organizations really need the money. You know, that's the important part. So in the future, I mean, I understand it's on the agenda here now. So, but in the future, I would definitely like to know what organizations are applying so I can weigh my options as well.
Councilman.
Mr. President. Councilman Emerson.
As a former member of that commission for, I believe, 5 years, the two criteria we had, and it's been a few years since I've been on there, but were a 501c3 and servicing the citizens of Hammond, because we would have groups that were 501c3s from throughout Lake County that really didn't service Hammond per se. If they did, it was more or less by accident, or the way it flopped. But those, we had actually, they would present what their program was in front of the committee to where, we got to know them, and we would get strange requests from time to time, apartment owners that said because they took a trip to Wrigley Field or Comiskey Park, Cellular Field, that they were qualified, for the not-for-profit gaming money. So I think the commission does a great job, and I know the monies have dwindled a little bit than when I was one of the founding members of it, or not. I was one of the first committee members. So I don't have a problem with, especially what you just said about the United Way. That's great.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs?
and not just saying that, I mean, in the future, maybe we need to put a cap on it. Some of these organizations are getting 100,000, some 25,000, some 30,000, some 5,000. I mean,
Mr.
come on,
President.
where's the cutoff here?
Mr. President,
Bobby?
for Councilman Higgs' edification, this isn't gaming money that comes off the top of the gaming pot. This is part of the money that the council has appropriated under the title of Mayor's Discretionary Gaming. This is the Mayor's Discretionary Gaming money. It's not a general pot of money, just as you all have your district funds that you've appropriated. This comes out of the appropriation that has been set aside for the mayor.
So who makes the determination? He just makes the determination as to which organizations get the money?
No, Councilman. The mayor
I'll
I'm
allow
sorry.
you to speak if you allow me to speak. I understand there's a governing board, but the reality of it is there's different organizations. There's no caps on them. It's different amounts per each organization. I mean, where do you stop? Do you say, okay, this organization applied for 50, we're gonna give them 30? Or this organization applied for 200,000, we're gonna give them 100,000? I mean, what are the guidelines or the restrictions in regards to giving these organizations the money? That's my question. I know it's a discretionary fund, but there are a lot of needs and wants in my district as well, and I would like to see some of that money spent in my district. This is a discretionary fund.
Mr. President,
Mr. Lindy?
I would advise Councilman Higgs then to speak with the council's appointment to the Gaming Advisory Commission and indicate to his appointment that he would prefer to see additional funds in additions to the ones that are already spent in the 3rd district spent there. To answer the question as far as who decides, I think I've answered that. I'll answer it again for you if I was unclear, that the mayor has created a nonpartisan board that's made up of appointments from all over the city, from various backgrounds and from all districts, and they're the ones that weigh the applications and make the determination on where the money goes.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs?
who's our appointee for the council?
Actually, I don't know.
I can tell you that I am on the advisory committee. I will also tell you that there were many applications that were submitted. Each and every application was scrutinized. We looked to see if the organization was a not-for-profit. We looked to see how many people on their board were Hammond residents. We looked at the project that they were looking for the grant for. How was that grant going to service the residents of the city of Hammond? We scrutinized each and every one of those. We had 3 or 4 meetings on those applications because we set some aside and returned to further review them at a later date. Not everyone got what they wanted. There was some discussion that it seemed as if some of the same people were coming back year after year. Next year, perhaps, The whole process will be advertised a little bit better. There were churches that asked for money, there were school organizations, there were various not-for-profits. Crime Watch was one of them. And there were some people who asked for a lot of money for projects in their neighborhood to beautify their neighborhood. And each and every one of those was scrutinized. Councilman Higgs, if you think that someone got more than your district, then I recommend that next year you pass out the applications for the committee.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs?
and that's not a problem, Councilwoman Vaness. I would certainly do that if they give me the applications in a decent, reasonable time frame. I certainly will do what I can to certainly get those out. But again, my question that was put on the floor is, who is our appointee?
Mr. President,
Mr. Lindy?
I don't know how to make it any more clear. I believe your appointee is Councilwoman at Large Vanez.
Thank you.
Councilman Higgs. In addition, Councilman Markovich, please keep in mind that what we're doing here is not giving money to for-profit corporations. This isn't an engineering firm. This isn't attorneys. No offense. These are the neediest of the needy organizations in our community who help our neediest citizens. These are organizations like Haven House. These are organizations up in your neck of the woods. You know, the Knights of Columbus, the food banks. These are not wealthy organizations that are coming and getting a handout.
Mr. President.
These organizations count on these funds every year, Councilman Markovich. Some of these organizations provide services to the neediest of our children and our families, and a good portion of their annual budget comes from the mayor's discretionary gaming that we're talking about tonight.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs?
I'm going to say this and I'm going to be done with it. No one in no form or fashion is saying that the organizations are not valuable assets to our city. I'm saying there should be caps on the amount of money given. Whether you're servicing them with food or whatever, it should be a cap. That's it.
Mr. Chairman?
Councilman Markovich?
Bobby, thank you. I mean, you explained it all and everything. I can coincide with Councilman Higgs. So you're saying Janet is the council's appointment. Is that what you're saying? Because she said she's on the advisory committee. Now, there's a difference between an appointee and an advisory committee. So is she our appointee? Is that what you're trying to say? Or that's what she's trying to say?
Yes.
Okay, so she's the council's appointment, so that's, first we've heard that.
Right.
So, but I'm not against charity or whatever, or anything like this, but I think some of these names are the same ones year after year after year after year, and it's the same ones. And it'd be curious to know, because I thought it was always $1 million, and now it's $500,000. That's why I asked you if this is only half the payment, if there's more coming. You know, some of the reasons why they say they want this money is for certain things. Well, I would wonder if they're using all that money for that specific reason, or if they're using it for something else too. You know, and whether that's okay or not, I don't care. But I'll withdraw my motion, but I'd like to know how many of these. Well, I think what I'll do on new unfinished business is for the last 3 years, we'll get a breakdown of who applied, how much money each group got for each year, and we'll see if the same ones are getting it every year. I think that would be a reasonable.
Mr. President.
I'm going to rescind my motion.
Already, just
Thank you,
for,
Councilman.
Mr. President, I rescind my second.
Clerk, go with roll call vote on claims as written.
Markovich?
Yes.
Spitali?
Yes.
Vanez?
yes.
Kalwinski? Ulaki?
Yes.
Higgs?
Yes.
Emerson?
Yes.
Enosa? Opinker?
Yes. Claims pass 7-0, 2 absent. Now moving on to public hearing is now open.
Item A, ordinance sponsored by Councilman Higgs, 13-23. An ordinance to make additional appropriations from the rainy day fund of the Hammond Public Library to its services and capital outlay accounts. Item B, ordinance 13-24, sponsored by Councilman Higgs. An ordinance to make additional appropriation from the rainy day fund of the Hammond Public Library to its services account.
For those liking to speak,
Alvin Cheeks, 832 Merrill Street. I'm here speaking on behalf of my son, Alvino Giovanni Cheeks, and my other son, Samante Strawberry Cheeks. I guess my greatest love for the library exists for three basic components. In 1991, the late Clayton Potter came into the Hammond Public Library with Steve Wynn, and I was showing him in the library documents how the city of Hammond was going to be putting a bridge across his nightclub, one of his favorite little personal nightclubs, and those kind of things. I guess the second greatest love was in 1995 when we purchased the Slag Heat for $10,000 and we sold it for over $7 million, the golf course. So it's a great love for me and my family in regards to the Hammond Public Library. I think the $500,000 is a great example of money well spent. You know, my son uses the library on a regular basis, and, you know, the computers, the carpeting, and some other very valuable issues. I'll be very frank with the council. I went over the library budget with a fine-tooth comb. I've been coming to this venue this year over 27 years. You know, I had the opportunity to work with individuals that had very large, healthy budgets. The library is slim. I will admit, like I said, to the library, it's some issues that do need trimming, but these particular dollars are needed to enhance the Hammond Public Library and make it a fine place for my son and other youth have a place to go this summer and have some of the latest technology. I was looking at one of the computers, and one of the staff people was explaining to me technology changes once every 2 years. So I think if we want the library to be a coexistent place where our youth can have comprehensive places to go that are safe and that have the latest technology, we as a council and we as a public have to make investments in terms of the Hammond Public Library. I do think that, you know, we need to find other ways to help the library and places where our youth can have very nice places. You know, I'm not a computer guru or anything like that, but just from what, you know, if you look at the technology or try one of the computers, they're kind of outdated. So I would hope this council, and I'm glad to hear from the caucus that the council is going to be helping the library. And I just wanted that point made that the Hammond Public Library is a great place, and it's a place that my sons use on a regular basis. When I was a kid, that was kind of the place we hung out at. So I'm glad to see that the council loves the library and it shows it, and thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Markovich.
I'd like to make a change in the agenda so that we can go ahead to the Marina Redevelopment District so we can handle that. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and go to that. I so move.
There's a motion by Councilman Markovich to suspend the
Mr.
rules.
President,
Councilman Higgs.
point of order. We have to close out the public hearing, then we can proceed to go to the next form of a motion. You have a public hearing here. Once you close that out, then you can move forward.
We don't want to close that out. We want to continue it later on. That's why we're suspending the rules to go to another one.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vines.
in due respect to everyone who has come out in favor of or to speak to the library this evening, and also in due respect to the attorneys that have taken time out of their schedule to come here this evening. If it is proper, I would like to second Councilman Markovich's motion.
It's a motion by Councilman Markovich, second by Councilwoman Vines to suspend the rules. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Rules are suspended. Public hearing is suspended.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Markovich.
I would like to move to item number 11 on the agenda, resolution approving the development agreement with the City of Hammond Redevelopment Commission, Economic Development Commission, and Marina District Development Commission regarding the Marina District Development Project. I so move.
Motion by Councilman Markovich. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Vines. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Markovich.
Councilman Kowinski is not here tonight to carry that resolution through. So I would refer to Kevin Smith or David Westland to bring this forth so we can take care of this at this time. And give an explanation of what's going on so the public knows what's going on.
The hard copy of the development area? Yep. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Councilman Markovich and the rest of the council, thank you. Mr. Westland and I, as well as Mr. Shanahan, are here tonight on behalf of the Redevelopment Commission and on the bonds that are going to be issued. What the bonds concern are a development agreement that has to do with the development that will take place, I guess just to orient everybody geographically, from Fifth Avenue, which is used to be Roby, in between Fifth Avenue and the old Vogel's property along that area towards 5 Points. What the development agreement contemplates is that bonds will be issued in a total amount of $5 million, of which $3.5 million will go to the developer, and certain things have to be performed. Namely, there will be 2 new traffic signals on Indianapolis Boulevard and a new intersection up in that area. It also mandates that there will be approximately 8 retail outlets for new commercial and retail development, which would include a full-service bank, 2 strip malls, it has to have 2 retail establishments for food, fast food, and other uses. Of note, it also prohibits certain uses in that development area, namely any cigarette stands, adult uses, gas stations, other than those that are going to be redeveloped in the area, and also dollar-type stores, fireworks as well. So at the end of the day, it also mandates that construction begin within 4 months after receiving permits, and that permits have to be fully applied for within 3 months of signing the agreement, so that's a 7-month period. It also allows that construction should be substantially complete within 2 years of beginning construction, on or around July 1st, 2015.
Anything else? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We have an order to go back to regular order business.
Mr. Chairman, make a
Councilman
motion to
Markovich.
go back to the regular order of business.
Is discussion over?
Yes.
We can do that.
It's motion by Councilman Markovich, second by Councilman Spitali to go back to regular order business. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I've never seen a meeting ran like this. I haven't.
Fine.
Mr. President, I'm a little confused, and
I am
maybe
too.
I'm slow, but you understand you didn't vote on that resolution?
We understand
Right,
that.
exactly.
We understand it.
Yes.
All you guys would do was give information what's going on. We still have to vote on that.
Okay.
Okay,
Right.
we know that.
And Councilman Markovich, I know you do, and just remember there's a resolution and an ordinance. There's 2 items.
Yes,
1326.
that's correct.
Okay. At this time, then, we would like to take action on those ordinances and resolutions, okay? We're back to regular, we already back to regular order business. Clerk Golick, motion was made for regular order business?
Yes, and it was second, and all those in favor was an aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Markovich.
we need, what's the ordinance number for you guys?
1326.
I'm sorry?
1326.
Okay. And that's in committee, first and second reading already?
Yes.
Okay. Make a motion to approve for final adoption of 1326. I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Markovich, second by Councilman Spitali. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Markovich.
Mr. Smith and Weston just gave the information, what we were looking for. We had discussion in caucus also, and this is what it's all about, and now we're going for final adoption and passage of this ordinance.
Clerk Golick, roll call vote on 1326.
Mr. President, final reading of 1326, sponsored by Councilman Kalwinski.
Mr. President, I didn't hear you say, is there any other discussion? What's going on? I mean, then you move on.
It was just explained.
But there's still, you have to allow us to, Robert's Rules of Order says.
Okay, Councilman Higgs, is there any discussion?
Thank you. Now, only discussion I have is that I see the plan going on in Robertsdale, okay? I wish, and it's my hope, that at some point, focus is given to Woodmart so it's developed as well. That's the only discussion I have.
Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote.
The clerk will read the title. An ordinance authorizing the City of Hammond, Indiana to issue its Economic Development Revenue Bonds, Series 2013, for the Marina District project, and approving other actions in respect thereto. On the roll call, Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Ulaki.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa. Opinker.
Yes. Ordinance 1326 passes 7-0, two absent.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Markovich.
I'd like to also take care of item number 11 on the agenda, Resolution 13R-19, approving the development agreement amongst the City of Hammond and the Redevelopment Commission. I so move.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilman Markovich, second by Councilman Spitali on Resolution 13R-19. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilman, or Clerk
the
Golick.
ordinance 13R-19, sponsored by Councilman Kalwinski, a resolution of the Hammond Common Council approving the development agreement among the City of Hammond, Indiana, Hammond Redevelopment Commission, the City of Hammond Economic Development Commission, and Marina District LLC regarding the Marina District Development Project.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Markovich.
I'd like to put the council as a whole as a sponsor for this resolution.
Exclude me.
Clerk Golick, if you put everybody as a sponsor except for Councilman Higgs as sponsors. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote on 13R-19.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Ulaki.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa. Opinker.
Yes. Resolution 13R-19 passes 7-0, two absent.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes everything for the ordinance and resolution for the Marina District. I would like to go back to the regular order of business and reopen the public hearing for the library. I so move.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilman Markovich, second by Councilman Higgs to go back to regular order of business. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Mr. President.
Councilwoman Vines.
Before we continue, I would just like to thank everyone in the audience for indulging us through that. The library issue is very important to us, and we certainly would like to move forward. Thank you.
That matters a lot. They ain't paying them.
All right, going back to the public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak on this issue, please come forward, state your name and address. Hearing none, seeing none, the public hearing is now over. Number 7, communications. Communications, does anybody have any communications? Communications is now closed. Number 8, committee reports.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
I'd like to bring out 13-23 and 13-24 for third and final passage. I so move.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilman Spitali to bring out 1323 and 1324 for third and final.
Where's 20?
Right. Right, no vote yet. Any other committee reports?
1326 is supposed to be.
That's passed.
Okay.
It's gone. Is there any other committee reports? Committee reports is now closed. Number 9, ordinance, third and final reading.
Ordinance number 13-23, sponsored by Councilman Higgs. An ordinance to make additional appropriations from the rainy day fund of the Hammond Public Library to its services and capital outlay accounts.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
I'd like to amend this ordinance as it reads as an ordinance to make additional appropriations from the rainy, it should be, take out the E and with the Y, day fund to the.
No, just the B, just B.
We had the first and second, I thought. Pardon me?
I'm amending it.
He's amending.
The language.
Okay, this is,
It's not correct.
okay, to amend it, we need a first and second, and then go on the amendment.
I made the motion, so there.
Okay, Councilman Higgs is making a motion to amend 1323. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Spitali. Is there any discussion?
Both of them are wrong.
What was the amendment? Yeah, the first one is the rainy.
Okay, Mr. President,
So- Anthony? Anthony, I think the first one we just corrected.
Okay, we just got the
going
first and
rainy
second. Now he's amending it.
when you did
Was Higgs and Spitali.
with-
Okay, we have the first and second. Now you can read your amendment, Councilman Higgs.
from what I'm understanding, Attorney Burgess said that it needed to be amended. Is this correct, Attorney Burgess?
Well, I think at one time the rainy was misspelled. That was the only correction.
So the changes have been made, so it's no misunderstanding as to what it should read. Clerk Goldie, can you read the title
It's
for the
correct
order?
in the title as it's on the agenda.
It's correct?
13. Mr. President,
Councilwoman Venez.
as I understand from caucus, this is 1323. The only correction on this is the correction of the spelling of rainy. It's R-A-I-N-Y.
Right.
That's correct.
That's what I was doing, but you guys stopped me. This one says R-A-I-N-E-Y. All right, so that is the amendment to 13-23. I so move.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilwoman Venez on the correct spelling of rainy. Is there any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote on the amended version.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Venez.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Ulaki.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes?
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa. Opinker.
Yes. Amended version of 1323 passes, 7-0, 2 absent. Now on 1323 as written.
Call for the vote.
We have a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilman Spitali to call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Clerk Golick? Vote. Roll call vote.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali. Venez.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Ulaki.
Yes.
Higgs,
Yes.
Emerson,
Yes.
Enosa, Opinker,
Yes. 1323 passes 7-0, 2 absent.
Ordinance 13-24, sponsored by Councilman Higgs, an ordinance to make additional appropriation from the rainy day fund of the Hammond Public Library to its services account.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
I move for final passage of 13-24 with the amendment of taking out. I move for third and final passage of 13-24.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilman Yalaki. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
I'd like to take out of this ordinance rainy day fund. So it said, ordinance to additional appropriation from the Hammond Public Library to its service account. That's how it should read.
It's a motion by Councilman Higgs.
Hold on.
It should read from the lease rental, the $2,000 from the lease rental.
It's on the bottom of here. So we have it identified where the money's going. Okay? Just the title. Just the title.
Do we have that, Clerk Golick?
Oh. What was the motion? To remove?
Rainy day fund, and it should be an ordinance to make additional appropriations from the Hammond Public Library to its service account.
It should say the lease rental fund.
But I didn't,
I don't,
Mr. President.
Point of order.
Mr. President.
Councilman Higgs.
I didn't type the ordinance up. Attorney Berger is our attorney. He typed it up. So,
Mr. President,
correct.
Point of order.
Language.
Attorney Berger, do you have the correct enunciation of all this?
excuse me?
Do you have the correct enunciation of all this?
Apparently,
How it should read?
apparently Mr. White from the library has the, he has the record, so I don't want
Mr.
Could you bring
President,
that forward, sir? Sir, could you bring that copy forward?
This was one that Berger originally corrected. Somehow they must have gotten the
I don't know
typo.
how the typos came, because you guys were supposed to take care of that.
It says lease rental fund here, lease rental fund on.
I know, but what is, it's a
1324.
Should it just say the lease rental fund? It says it at the bottom, but it's not titled that.
Right.
So,
to, you might as well put it on the title too, yeah.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
I move that, I make a motion that we put Hammond Public Lease Rental Fund as the title of this particular ordinance, 13-24, and that clears all that. I so move.
Do you have that, Clerk Golick?
Yes. Correcting?
No, that's not what he did. He put lease rental in there, not correcting the spelling.
The initial ordinance had an ordinance for additional appropriations from
Take that out.
and we're taking out only rainy day fund.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Venez.
may I ask, are we appropriating from the Hammond Public Library Lease Rental Fund $2,000 to appropriate to the Hammond Public Library Lease Rental Fund? Is that correct?
Same thing.
Is there, so what are we going from and to? Mr. President?
Can you, Mr. Accountant, Ms. Greenleaf, can you step to the podium, please? I need for you guys, this was supposed to have been taken care of prior to this meeting. I don't know why the language is not spelled out correctly.
Councilman Higgs.
Yes.
The councilman and councilwoman. When
Could you speak in the mic, please?
When the information was given, it said that the monies were coming for the lease rental. These documents came from you, from your
Attorney. Berger was supposed to
We-
type it up.
Right. We
You gave
told
them the
them
information.
exactly what this was supposed to be. And when we got it back, because we can't type it, you have to send it. Okay? So let's make it clear. Now, this is coming out of the lease rental.
So Mr. President,
Councilman
There is-
Higgs.
the only clarity that we need at this point is where is the money coming out of what fund? It's coming out of the lease rental fund?
The money is coming out of the lease rental fund. There are
That's-
monies in the lease rental fund.
We
It
understand.
has to be appropriated to be paid.
We
for the
understand all that. All I need is the clarification as how the language is supposed to be explained and documented. I don't need no extras, please. Just tell me what it is that it's coming out of so we can get this taken care of. Now, all right, we already made the motion to put it on there. Am I correct, Kirk Golding?
Correct.
All right, now we need a second and we can proceed on. All you doing is changing the language.
Councilwoman Vines.
Where is the money going to? Is it going to the services account? Where is it going to?
The money, if I may explain, is in the lease rental fund.
It's
It
there
has to be
now.
appropriated by
So she
you
can-
to be
Yeah, hold-
paid for the services in the lease rental fund. It has to be appropriated by you.
Okay, so it's coming from the Hammond Public Library Lease Rental Fund, correct? And it's going to the Hammond Public Library Services Lease Rental Fund.
It has to be
Services, okay. So we have to insert that word there.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
in the second title of appropriation, it should be Hammond Public Library Service Lease Rental Fund for the $2,000. It's coming out of the Hammond Public Library Lease Rental Fund going to the Hammond Public Library Service Rental Fund. I make that motion.
Councilman Higgs has made the motion. Do I have a second?
What is the motion?
You just read it.
Okay, but is that the only one? That's the only change we're making on
Yes.
here? Okay, second.
Is there any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote on the amended version, 1324.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Ulaki.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa. Opinker.
Yes, 1324 amended version passes 7-0, 2 absent. Now on 1324 is written.
Call for the vote. Jesus.
Hey, Gunnar, can I call you back? I'm in the middle of a meeting.
Somebody can call for the vote?
As amended.
As amended.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Markovich.
make a motion for final passage and adoption of 13-24 as amended.
Motion by Councilman Markovich, second by Councilman Spitali on 1324 as amended.
I already made the motion.
Roll call. Right, roll call vote.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Ulaki.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes, yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa. Opinker.
Yes, 1324 passes 7-0, 2 absent.
President Opinker, that concludes the ordinances for final passage.
Moving on to 10, introduction of ordinances.
Item A, ordinance 13-27, sponsored by Councilman Henosa. An ordinance amending ordinance 8746, also known as section 32.47 of the Hammond Municipal Code as it pertains to accident report fees.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Markovich.
make a motion for first and second reading and approve, motion place the council as a whole.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Markovich, second by Councilman Higgs. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President, I think what this,
Go ahead.
I think what this ordinance does is it, no longer will the citizens of the great city of Hammond be allowed to go directly to the police department in regards to receiving police reports. You'll have to go online and there's a fee. And from what I understand, it's more revenue for the city and, according to Attorney Cantor.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Van
there is also a phone number that a resident can call for the police report.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? First and second passes. Yes, put in council as a whole. Moving on, we're done with the resolutions. Number 12, new and unfinished business. Is there any new and unfinished business?
Mr. President.
Councilwoman Vines?
Yes, a couple of announcements. I would like to announce the second annual Kathleen Pasalic Memorial 5K Run Walk at Wolf Lake. This will be on Saturday, July 20th. For more information, you can call 853-6378.
Any other new and unfinished business?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs?
I think at MLK Park, on behalf of the Ministerial Alliance of this great city of Hammond, they will be having a Give Back Day at MLK Park at the Pavilion on June 15th. Give back to the community. All the ministers from our great city will be present, I would hope. And that's it.
Any other new and unfinished business?
Mr. President.
Councilwoman Vines?
For those who are interested in doing good in your community and finding out about what is going on in your neighborhood, I'd like to announce a couple of Crime Watch meetings. Tuesday, June 18th, the East Hammond Pullman Crime Watch will meet at the Ophelia Steen Center. On Thursday, July 20th, Hessville Crime Watch will meet at the Gene Shepherd Center, 7 p.m. On Thursday, June 20th, the South Hammond Crime Watch will meet at the Hammond Housing Authority building at 7 o'clock. On Thursday, July 13th, the Whiting-Robertsdale Crime Watch will meet at Calumet College. That meeting begins at 6:30. On Wednesday, June 12th, the Woodmark Crime Watch will meet at the National Guard Armory on 173rd. That begins at 6 p.m. And that is how change happens. One gesture, one person, one moment at a time. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs?
the Lakeshore Chamber of Commerce BP Luncheon is Thursday, June 20th, 2013 at the Dynasty Banquet, 4125 Calumet Avenue, Hammond, Indiana. BP presents an update on Whiting Refinery Modernization Program and projects and a worldwide energy review. Networking starts at 11:30 a.m., presentation at 12 p.m., cost is $20. For reservations for the events are required. To make your reservations, please call the Lakeshore Chamber's office at 219-931-1000.
Also under new and unfinished business, I'd like to welcome our newest councilman, Councilman Jackie Lackey, the 2nd District. I'm sure Jack will be here to work hard in that district. And welcome aboard, Jack. Any other new and unfinished business?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
I know there was some discussion, and I have to do this because I feel it's appropriate. There was some discussion as regards to prayer and being at the meeting. The Supreme Court has not ruled on the particular issue. In all due respect, I feel as though all my colleagues should make a conscientious effort as to which direction they want to go, whether they want it or not. I know who I am and whose I am, and so I'm going to continue to pray, whether it be silent on my knees or whatever. And so I feel as though because there has not been a decision rendered from the United States Supreme Court, we are not in violation, and the city has been sued for a number of issues in regards to different things that have occurred and within our city. So certainly there are so many other things we could be concentrating on, and prayer is much needed, and I do plan to hold a prayer vigil in the near future. So I'm going to continue to pray, and I just want to make that perfectly clear.
Any other new and unfinished business?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Venez.
in response to Councilman Higgs, I too am a Christian. I attend church every Sunday. I pray in the privacy of my own home. And when this came up, I thought, you know, I'm going to do some research. And this is what I have found. From the book of Matthew, the 6th chapter, verses 5 through 8. And when you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the street corners to be seen by others. Truly I tell you, they have received their reward in full. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. And when you pray, do not keep on babbling like pagans, for they think they will be heard because of their many words. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask them. Thank you very much.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
if we want to get biblical, we can go there, because you know what it also says in the Bible, that if you deny me before men, he will deny you in the judgment seat before him.
Any other new and unfinished business?
Mr. President,
Councilman Emerson.
I'd like to respond a little bit to the topic at hand. As myself, a former Eucharistic minister at St. Joseph's Church and a former parish council member, in terms of service, my wife is a graduate of Bishop Noel. Our daughter is a graduate of Bishop Noel. Our son, as well, graduate of Bishop Noel. Our daughter is also a graduate of the University of Notre Dame, class of '02, and was married at the Basilica of the Sacred Heart at the University of Notre Dame. My son is a graduate of Loyola University, a Catholic university law school. Our daughter and son's marriage, our daughter's marriage has been blessed by Pope Benedict. Our son's marriage has also been blessed by Pope Benedict. My wife's master's degree is from Olivet Nazarene University, a Christian university. Our family has over 52 years of Catholic and Christian education and service. That said, I would not begin to foster my beliefs on the city, citing them in any fashion, after the gavel. And I am on the same page with Councilman Higgs as far as I believe in the same hymn as he's quoted in the paper of saying, to deny him. The problem, Councilman, is not everyone believes in the hymn that I believe in. And I think that's the issue that we have to be concerned with after the gavel. Before the gavel, I don't have a problem with it. Thank you.
Any other new and unfinished business?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
all I could do is say that this topic of discussion shouldn't even came up because it's been going on before I was even a councilman. And I don't even know why it's such an issue now, but it's not going to defer me or derail anything, my relationship with God, whatever. So it doesn't make me a difference. If you choose to do it or don't, that's fine with me. But as for me, I'm going to continue to kneel down before I deal with any issues as it relates to the city of Hammond.
Any other new unfinished business? New unfinished business is now closed. Public expression. First speaker, Mr. Eldon Cheeks.
Alvin Cheeks, 832 Merrill Street. Excuse me. What I like to say is that we live in a society where people can choose their religion. Councilman Higgs, I respect who you are, and I appreciate that. I spent 27 years going into North Hammond. The development group is a minority development group. I happen to be the only African American that participated with the Lake George Development Group. I happen to be the only African American that participated with Luke Oil. But what I done there, and they gave me an opportunity to bring on more African Americans and more minorities in North Hammond than probably ever had been. When contractors are picked, they picked from a pool where minorities get opportunity. The law firm that was here, that's a law firm owned by an African American lady. So happened to be most of the partners that were here from that particular law firm happened to be of a different persuasion. I felt myself lucky being a Hammond individual, having an opportunity to travel the world for Luke Oil, traveling the world for Indiana's Last, and seeing Lucky Stripes go and seeing the spot go. Those are dear to my heart. I learned through that when you own your house, you own the airspace above your house. I learned that. That's your space. And that's what we have to be as people in this city, is tolerant to our religions. I grew up as a Baptist. I studied the Quran. I had the opportunity to guard Minister Farrakhan. I've had the opportunity to guard many different people. And I tell you in that we have to incorporate everybody's religion. I'm a firm believer from working at law firms and studying law and all of that it has to be a clear separation of church and state. But as you know, Councilman Higgs, I believe in the same hymn that everybody else do. So we just have to be tolerant to all people's religion and their persuasions. And, you know, it's just crazy how people incorporate religion into politics, because that's, like I said, before the gavel, everybody can agree on religion. I might see it one way, or the other person might not. So I just say that everybody be tolerant of each other, and let's have a great summer, and God bless you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Cheeks. Next speaker, Mr. Reverend Gomez.
Good evening, Council. Reverend Santiago Gomez from New Life Worship Center Church of Hammond. I'm proud to be a resident of Hammond for 42 years. And I believe in prayer. I believe prayer is very essential at home, in church, and with our government. The Bible in 1 Timothy chapter 2, it requires of us to pray for our leaders in the secular world. And you are our leaders. And we pray for you. We pray for you at home. We pray for you at church. When I'm on the road, I pray for you. And but one of the things that kind of bothers me and saddens me is that, you know, they took prayer out of school. And now, you know, they're taking prayer out of the council. I wear a tie, you know, with some of the books of the Bible. And pretty soon someone's going to say, well, you know what, I don't like Reverend Gomez using that tie because it bothers me. So then, you know, they're going to keep me from not wearing my ties because we're afraid we're going to get sued. You know, we're Americans. I was born in this country. I wasn't born in Mexico, Cuba, or Puerto Rico. I have nothing against, you know, those countries. I'm an American, and I live here, and I think we should have rights. And what's happening and what I see throughout the years is that, you know, everyone is telling us, especially, you know, our faith, the Christian faith, what to do or what not to do. And it seems like we're the ones that are being attacked. No other religion that I know of is being attacked. If you say anything about the Quran, you know, they want to start World War III. And what happens? We have to apologize to them. And that's the way with others. So In essence, what I'm trying to say is that, you know, I have a relationship with the Lord. You know, it's not a religion. You know, some people say, well, I have a religion. It's not about religion. It's about having a relationship with Christ. And when you have a relationship with Christ, then the Holy Spirit start dealing in your life, start teaching you things, start showing things, and it starts, you know, changing your life. And this is what we need in America. A lot of people say, what's going on? You know, why are schools going in and getting shot and going through? What can we do to avoid that happening again? Well, it's like Councilman Hicks said. You know, we're telling God we don't want it. So God will stand back and say, okay, then handle it your own way. Do whatever you want. And then when things like that happen, then we start crying out to the Lord, Lord, help me. Help me, Lord. Show me what to do. You know, we have pastors, we have leaders that tells us what to do. But, you know, we have a death year. And so what I'm going to just stop with this, that I need to pray for you guys, continue praying and asking God, you know, to give the wisdom, the knowledge, and the understanding, you know, to deal with whatever comes our way here at the council and try to take care of business. And if, you know, we're scared of what others are going to do, then what's next? When is this going to stop? That's my question. Pretty soon they're going to go into our churches and they're going to visit us. And then they're going to say, you know what, I don't like the way the pastor preaches, or I don't like the way, you know, you sing. And then they're going to say, well, we're going to sue, you know, the church because we don't believe in that. And then what's next? And then we're going to say, well, you know, we have to stop doing all this because we're going to get sued. So it's time to start thinking about, you know, what's going on in this country. Amen? So I'll finish with that. Thank you for your time, and may God bless you.
Thank you, Reverend Galvez. Next speaker will be Ms. Mary Ellen Slezak.
Mary Ellen Slezak, 517 Lewis. I agree with you, Councilman Hicks. I'm glad you're my councilman. You're one of the greatest people, I think, in the city of Hammond. You have your heart in the right place, and I'm very proud to have you as a councilman. I'm a Catholic. I'm a practicing Catholic, not a Catholic in name only like some people seem to be. If I'm critical, I'm critical. I am tired of having rights taken away because tolerance, tolerance, tolerance. You know, the cross around my neck is offensive to some people too, but try pulling it off me. We have a right to pray. If somebody doesn't want to participate, that's fine. You have a right to do things and not do things here. This is still the United States of America last time I checked. Like if somebody doesn't want to do Pledge Allegiance, then they have that right. If somebody doesn't want to participate in a prayer, they have that right, okay? You don't have to shove anything down anybody's throat. So nobody's forcing anybody to do something that they don't want to do. But I don't want my rights taken away, Councilman Higgs' rights, or anybody else's rights taken away, because we've got to be tolerant. We might offend somebody. Well, the ones up here that do know me, no, I don't care if I offend somebody, because I have freedoms in this country, I have rights, and I will give my freedom of expression. And if I choose to pray, if I want to sit back there and pray, or if Councilman Higgs wants to pray, I'm going to join him. If I don't want to join him, I don't have to. But that's a choice everybody has. That's what freedom's all about. It's not a thing in the Constitution where you can't do this. Yes, you can. Until the court says no, you can. Even if the court says no, the law sometimes is not right. It is not right. Thank you.
Thank you. Final speaker tonight will be Mr. George Stoya. I have a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Spitelli, second by Councilman Higgs. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?